Addiction is the epidemic of our generation. Every 4 minutes, people are overdosing in the U.S. Drugs and alcohol are tearing our families apart. The only way to combat addiction is through proper treatment and customized care. As people are slipping into the grips of addiction, nationwide, Banyan Treatment Center facilities stand as the leader in providing growth through recovery. Addiction does not discriminate. Do not let yourself or someone you know become another devastating statistic. Call now, 855-6-BANYAN.
Well, I'm really happy to be here tonight, and I am a woman in long-term recovery. What that means to me and my family is that I haven't had a drink since April 5th, 1991. And I can tell you, for this crack addict, alcoholic, prostitute, mental ward, incarcerated woman, that is a miracle. And I also want to tell you that God does not waste one single mistake or pain in our life. And as we talk about the things tonight that cause us heartache and that hurt us, just remember that out of everything bad, something good can come. It can. I've seen too many good things and too many situations turn around. So what I'm really excited about is this, is that when we are transparent, it opens up the door of willingness. And we know that willingness is the key, don't we? Willingness is the key that helps us walk into new lives. So here's my story. It's a little bit different than what we've been talking about. The criminal justice system for me was probably one of the best things that ever happened. But you have to understand, that was in 1988. So for 10 years prior to that, before they took away on-demand detox, on-demand recovery, you could walk into a hospital ER and in 10 minutes they'd have you upstairs in a 28-day program when I first got sober. So by the time I got to jail, I had already been through multiple 28-day programs. I had been introduced to this 12 steps, and my life kept progressively getting worse. I was living on the street with an abusive man who became my pimp, and I was selling my body, and I would have done anything, just like all of us, to get high and to stay high. So I was arrested for writing bad checks, and I ended up in Arlington County Jail for a year. And I can tell you, I did absolutely nothing for my recovery while I was in that jail. Nothing. I walked out of the doors after being there a year. I walked across the street with my pimp boyfriend to the Pizza Hut. I drank a pitcher of beer. I wrote a bad check, and I was back in the crack house in 10 minutes, because that's what we do. But I will say this. I was sick and tired of the way I was living. And for me, being incarcerated was the thing that helped me get over that hump. It also took me off the streets. It also placed me in a place where I had not been sober for probably 14 years. And it gave me a little bit of time, just a little bit, to get my thoughts together. Now, of course, they weren't that together. I wouldn't have done what I did. However, it was a thing that led to the thing that led to the thing. So I look back and I can realize that that really, really was a benefit to me. But you got to fast forward 20-some years, 27 years to be exact. For 22 years, I've been involved in the criminal justice system, starting out taking meetings into jails. And then that evolved into creating a program in a home for women that were being released from incarceration. You know, that right there is a miracle, because, you know, I would guess, I got sober when I was 30. So for a good 15 years, I never read a book. I didn't even know what was going on in the world. I didn't care about voting. I didn't care about anything. So, you see, when I got into the program, things started to change. So I created this program for women. It was awesome because it was run by people in recovery. And we had a 0% recidivism rate. But I'll tell you, people would rather give money to the puppy in the cage at the SPCA than to a man or a woman who needs help. That's the real truth, okay? So I changed it up a bit. I said, if we can't raise any more money for this, then what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to be as transparent as I possibly can. And I'm going to go and I'm going to speak everywhere I possibly can to help people, to educate them, to understand what happens in our mind. And I too, I've written 3 books. I've had the opportunity to speak across the country to people who would never listen unless I came in the back door. I've been contracted with Department of Corrections now for 10 years. I go anywhere from 9 to 19 facilities every year. I created a reentry program. They don't come in through the chaplaincy. They don't come in, it's through reentry. And I designed that program off of the philosophy of the 12 steps. Because personally, I think everybody should be involved in 12-step recovery. That's just my personal opinion. And working with thousands of people, I have seen it work many, many times. But here's what I want to tell you. How I know that we need recovery inside of those rooms, not only statistics, okay? Not only the statistics in the state of Virginia. I mean, 15,000 people will be released, and 85% of that 15,000 have a problem with drugs and alcohol. But I give them an evaluation sheet about the program that I do. And every single one of them say something about recovery. And I can tell you after 10 minutes, the walls fall, the lights come on, they start to engage. And all it is the basic things. I can't, he can, and I'm going to let him. So as we think about the criminal justice system, I can tell you this, it is going to take nothing short of a miracle for the administration of Department of Corrections to adopt any kind of program that will help addicts and alcoholics. And we have talked, I mean, John's talked till he's blue in the face. I've talked to them. So many people have presented things to them. And just as you said, sir, it's a money-making proposition. And there are guys and women in there. I mean, I met a guy last week. He's been in there for 38 years on drug charges. 38 years. So our system is broken. But I have to say that, God does for us what we cannot do for ourselves. And we can't get so hung up on what doesn't work. We have to focus on what we can do that does work. And I believe, this is just my belief, that I love the saying, my favorite saying, we're only as sick as our secrets. And until we start sharing, I mean real life issues, real life recovery, what we've really gone through with people who are decision makers, with large groups of people, with small groups of people, with your dentist, with your hairdresser, until they understand the heart of the issue. How did I get where I was? What made me do what I did? Until we do that, the stigma will remain. But it's very difficult to have a stigma when it's one-on-one, when it's heart to heart. It's very difficult to be prejudiced, to be hateful when you're sitting with a person that hurts. So I'm so excited about this because it breaks down those walls. Care Talks is an opportunity for us to speak openly and honestly and transparently and authentically about our addiction and our recovery. So I want to thank you for having me here today. I think this is a great evening.